That was really funny. You never know what to do with that.
Well, he liked good news from the media.
Yeah.
Senator, good news.
Exactly.
I'm sorry.
And you know who else is at McConnell headquarters tonight is Senator Rand Paul, who played a key role not only in McConnell's campaign, but is also going to be a really critical player in a potential Republican Senate as a potential bridge between McConnell and wherever our conservatives end up, led by Senator.
Really fascinating thing to watch in Kentucky, and this sounds like small ball, but it's going to become the most important thing in the world really fast, is the question of whether or not the Kentucky House, the state legislature, goes Republican. It's one of the last, if not the last, legislative chamber in the South that has not gone to the Republicans. And the reason it matters is because Kentucky has a state law which says you can't run for 2 federal offices at once. Rand Paul's going to run for president in 2016. That's also when his Senate seat is up. He doesn't want to have to give up his Senate seat to run for president.
There's a precedent. The great Barry Goldwater gave up his seat, gave it up in Arizona just so he could be an honest candidate and say he wasn't Lieberman playing it tricky. Oh, I want both jobs in case I lose. No, he says I'm running for one office at a time. That's gutsy. Put your neck out there.
There's also a lot of precedent of state legislatures being willing to bend the home state rules. Well, they may not do it as long as Democrats hold on to that house.
That's true.
But if that's part of the reason I think
this could be Allison Grimes. This could be Allison Grimes' chance. If Rand Paul gets the nomination, she gets the seat. Everybody's happy, except Mitch McConnell. Anyway.
Let's bring in Steve Kornacki at this point. With Kentucky off the table, Steve Kornacki, what does that look like in terms of the Democrats' survival guide for tonight?
Yeah, well, let's go to the big board and take you through it. So how do the Democrats get through tonight? As you say, we would have, as of 20 minutes ago, had Kentucky in this middle column of undecided. It's gone. It's gone to the Republicans. It's added to their tally. They're at 46. So let's take you through what the Democrats need now with 9 battleground states up here. You look at Arkansas, the polls haven't closed. We'll see what happens there, but the expectation is that will go the way of Kentucky. That will be a Republican pickup. On the other side, we talked earlier about the must-win states for Democrats. New Hampshire with Jeanne Shaheen, Kay Hagan in North Carolina. Let's say the Democrats get those. We don't know. They must win them, so let's say they get them. Add these to the Democratic column. The other sort of juicy target on this board for Democrats right now is Kansas. Now, there's no Democrat running there, but you heard Joe Biden, the vice president today, even saying, look, that independent, if he wins, he's going to caucus with us. We don't know what he's going to do, but Democrats need him to do that if he wins. Let's say that happens. Let's add Greg Orman, the independent, winning and caucusing with the Democrats. Now, that leaves you with 5 states up here in the middle. Now, we've got 2 here that are sort of wild cards. I want to put them at the bottom right now. These are Louisiana and Georgia. These are states where runoffs are likely in Louisiana, possible in Georgia. We'll talk more about those later. Leave them down here for right now. That leaves you with Alaska, Iowa, Colorado. Now, think about where the Democrats are right now in this scenario. They're at 46, and now here's the key. You have to add 2 more, because Bernie Sanders and Angus King are independents who currently caucus with them. So add 2 to that 46, puts them at 48. They need to get to 50. So they're too short. You got these 3 states on the board tonight. Now, the absolute bare minimum in this scenario the Democrats need, let's say they lose Alaska. Let's say they lose Colorado. It doesn't work out for Udall, the incumbent there. And let's say Joni Ernst, the Republican, wins in Iowa. Everything goes wrong in those 3 states for Democrats. The Republicans are still going to be short. The Democrats would then go to the runoffs in these 2 states and have a chance there. However, the odds of the Democrats surviving in the runoffs in these 2 states, those are sort of the 2 worst bets of those 5, not good. So more likely for the Democrats. You go to Colorado, you go to Iowa, you go to Alaska, you look at these 3 states and you say more likely for Democrats tonight, they're going to have to win 1 in maybe 2 of these states. So these 3, keep a close eye on them tonight. Democrats probably going to need 1. As I say, it may end up being 2 that they need from here. And they're all upsets.
Let's bring in right now a member of the United States Senate already, who will remain so, Chris Murphy of Connecticut. Senator, you're watching this whole thing. Would you explain to people watching who don't really know the way that Senate operates and organizes, what's the significance if the Republicans grab control? What does it mean in terms of what's likely to come out of the Senate the next 2 years if they even have a 1-seat advantage coming out of tonight?
Well, there's a number of consequences. I know a lot of people watch the pace of the Senate and the number of pieces of legislation have come out and wonder what the difference is. But the fact is that the agenda is controlled by the majority. The chairmen who oversee these committees are determined only by the majority. And maybe most importantly for the Senate, the president's appointees to various agencies and to the federal bench is determined by the majority, especially now that we've changed the rules such that 50 votes can put a nominee through. I think you're going to see the president's appointees effectively shut down. It's a government shutdown by another mechanism. They're not going to stop funding the government. They're just going to stop populating it with the president's appointees. So I think that's probably the most significant change you'll see.
Well, let me hit you with a couple ones, because people are nervous about it. Will there be a vote on immigration? Because the Senate with Democratic leadership did pass an immigration bill with 12 Republicans. Well, even if the Republicans pick up the leadership by a vote or two, will there still be enough power there to pass a decent immigration bill like you did before?
No, the problem is that this is going to be perceived as a victory for the Tea Party. These people like Joni Ernst and Tom Cotton, they're not going to be working with the moderates who are trying to pass immigration reform. They're going to be stopping it. And so I don't see any way that that sort of middle-of-the-road agenda that people like John McCain or Lindsey Graham have supported in the past is going to be able to get support from that caucus, which is going to be radicalized by this election.
Terrible.
Senator Murphy, when you're looking ahead at this Connecticut governor's race tonight, there's been some concern about voting in Hartford. Judge has ordered 2 specific voting places in Hartford to be held open a half hour later than they otherwise would have been. It seemed like those places had a hard time getting open this morning. We know that Connecticut Governor Dan Malloy's strategy really depends on turning out big margins in cities like Hartford, in the urban areas in your state. Are you worried about either shenanigans or just failure in terms of the ability to pull off the election in Connecticut today in a way that may affect what happens there?
Yeah, I'm not worried, because what we've seen in the cities here in Connecticut across the day is higher turnout this year than you saw in 2010. Governor Malloy went into the election day 4 years ago down by 3 points. He won by about 6,000 votes. He's going in up by 2 or 3 points this time. I think he'll pull it off. You know, Connecticut is a blue state for federal purposes, but we've elected a lot of Republican governors over the past 20 years, so it's not really that surprising that this is a dogfight here.
Thank you, Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut. It's good to have you with us tonight. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
All right, coming up, we have some breaking news, actually, in the Florida governor's race. We're going to be going live to Charlie Crist's headquarters in St. Petersburg. That's next. You're watching MSNBC's special coverage of election night. The big news so far is Senator Mitch McConnell in Kentucky being reelected. That was a call at the closing of the polls. There's a lot still to come tonight. Stay with us.